Jenna dropped it on me like she was asking about the weather. We were sitting at the kitchen table, Tuesday night, reheated lasagna, same dinner we'd had for 3 days straight. She barely looked up when she said it. Just pushed a piece of garlic bread around her plate and went, "So, I've been thinking about taking a pause from us." I didn't flinch, just nodded and took another bite. She waited, fork frozen in midair. I mean, just for a couple weeks, while I'm in Berlin, for the leadership summit. I wiped my mouth with a napkin. Okay, that wasn't the reaction she was hoping for. Her jaw twitched. "You're just okay with that?" I looked up at her, calm as hell. "You said you needed space. I'm giving it to you." She leaned back like I'd slapped her with indifference. "I just think some clarity would help. Like we've been stuck. Don't you feel stuck?" Her tone was smooth, practiced, the kind of thing you rehearse in front of a mirror. Clarity, space, time to reflect. It all sounded so adult, so evolved. But I knew what it really meant. She wanted to do what she wanted in Berlin without guilt. No rules, no confrontation. Just a clean little mental hall pass. I nodded slowly. "You do what you need to do, Jenna." She blinked, clearly irritated. "I'm not saying I want a divorce. I just think we need a reset. Time to figure out if we're actually happy. Right?" I said, chewing. "Makes sense." She stared at me like I'd grown another head. "Why are you being so weird about this?" "I'm not," I said. "You want space. I get it." Her face cracked then. Just a flicker. She was hoping for something else. Maybe a fight, maybe begging. Something that proved I still cared the way she needed me to. But I wasn't giving her that. Not tonight. Not anymore. She picked at her plate. "This isn't easy for me either." I nodded again. "I'm sure." We finished the rest of dinner in silence. She kept looking at me, waiting for me to explode or break or cry or something. I just cleared my plate, rinsed it, and put it in the dishwasher. When I turned around, she was still sitting there, arms crossed, eyes narrowed like I was the one who'd blindsided her. I gave her a small smile. "Want me to set an alarm for the airport Saturday?" She didn't answer, just sat there stewing. That night, I lay in bed next to her and stared at the ceiling. She was already asleep, breathing slow and steady, like nothing had changed. But I was wide awake, already asking myself the one question I couldn't shake. Was I supposed to fight for someone who just asked for a break? Saturday morning hit colder than I expected for early spring. I got up before her, made coffee like usual, and poured hers into that dumb floral travel mug she always used for trips. I didn't say much, just handed it to her at the door while she zipped her coat. "Thanks," she said, barely looking up. "Cab'll be here any minute." I nodded. "Have a good trip." She hesitated. "You'll be okay?" I met her eyes steady. "Yeah, I'll be good." That was it. No hug, no kiss goodbye. Just her dragging her suitcase down the porch steps and into the back of a yellow cab. She didn't look back once. I stood at the window until the car disappeared down the street. Then I exhaled. Long, deep, and quiet, like letting out air I'd been holding in for years. It was like a weight slid off my chest. The silence in the house didn't feel empty. Felt clean. By noon, I had a pen in hand and a notepad on the counter. Not a to-do list, more like a TUNFK myself list. Things I'd stopped doing because she rolled her eyes or made that tight smile that meant, "Do you really have to?" First item, call Dave. Second, dig out the old speakers from the attic. Third, nachos from that food truck she hated on Fifth. By 2, I was driving through town with the windows down, blasting Stone Temple Pilots, chips and cheese in my lap, and hot sauce on my shirt. I didn't care. I hadn't felt this alive in years. Saturday night, I stayed up till 3 watching old action flicks, feet on the coffee table, beer in hand, dishes still in the sink. And I didn't hear a single sigh about it. Sunday morning, I slept in till 10. No alarm. No passive-aggressive comments about wasting the day. I made pancakes, burned the first batch, ate 'em anyway. I found the speakers around noon, dusty but working. Hooked them up and turned the volume to where it made the floor vibrate. Played every album Jenna had vetoed over the years. Stuff she said gave her a headache or was too aggressive. I cranked it louder. I didn't feel guilty. That afternoon I started cleaning, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Not her schedule, not her system. Just me, a trash bag, and a house that finally felt like mine again. By the time Sunday night rolled around, I was stretched out on the couch, eating gas station pizza and scrolling through auto repair courses online. And I realized something. The pause wasn't just her freedom. It was mine too. This whole time, I'd been bracing for her to come back, waiting for answers, for her to decide what we were. But sitting there, full of grease and music and peace, I finally let myself ask the question that really mattered. What if I didn't want her back? What if I liked who I was when she was gone? I didn't have the full answer yet, but for the first time in a long time I wanted to find out. And I wasn't going to wait on her to give me permission. I signed up for a consult with a local guy named Lawrence Boone first thing Monday morning. His office was in this old brick building off Main, tucked between a bait shop and a payday loan place. Real small-town attorney vibes, wood paneling, fake leather chairs, framed certificates that looked older than me. Boone came out wearing a wrinkled blazer and a be-on-the-lookout tie. No nonsense, firm handshake. "Come on back," he said. "Tell me what's going on." I sat down across from him, palms flat on his scratched-up desk. "My wife told me she wants to pause our marriage while she's in Europe. Said we both need space to get clarity." He leaned back, arms crossed. "Did she say the word separation?" "Nope." She was real careful. Pause. 2 weeks. No talk of rules or expectations. Boone grunted. Classic. She wants deniability. Wants to dip her toe in the single pool without legally jumping in. That's what it sounded like. Let me guess. No kids, separate accounts, house in your name? I blinked. Yeah. How'd you know? Boone smirked. Because this ain't my first one of these. Look, I'm not saying she's cheating, but I am saying she's positioning herself for something. Could be exit strategy. Could be leverage. That landed hard. He opened a drawer, pulled out a yellow legal pad. "I'd recommend you start compiling anything with financial value, assets, bank records, retirement accounts. Keep copies. Back 'em up. Just in case." I nodded slowly. "You think she's planning a divorce?" "I think you don't get told someone wants a pause without being 2 steps behind already. Better to catch up now than scramble later." I walked out of Boone's office with a list in my pocket and a storm in my head. Stopped for coffee on the way home. Sat in the parking lot and opened the Notes app on my phone. Started cataloging everything. Savings accounts, property records, credit cards, even the lease on her car. By noon, I had 3 file folders spread across the kitchen table. Jenna's name was on exactly nothing but the phone bill. We'd been married almost 10 years, and somehow still managed to keep our financial lives separate. That should have felt wrong. Didn't. Felt telling. I pulled down the box from the top of the hall closet. Old tax returns, paycheck stubs, receipts I never tossed. And the more I sorted, the more I realized how much I'd stopped paying attention. She handled the groceries. I handled the utilities. We passed each other like co-workers. I didn't feel sad. I felt awake. Around 4, I changed into gym clothes I hadn't worn in years. Drove to the place I used to hit 3 nights a week before Jenna suggested I just buy a treadmill instead. Said it was a waste of gas, a waste of time, said I could work out at home and still make dinner. The gym hadn't changed much. Same worn floors, same loud grunts echoing off the concrete. I nodded at the guy behind the counter, signed a day pass, and walked straight to the bench press like I'd never left. The weight felt heavier than I remembered, but it felt real. Halfway through the workout, sweat pouring off my forehead, arms burning, I caught my reflection in the mirror. Not just the physical me, but the version I'd buried. The guy who used to do things because he wanted to, not because someone else approved. It wasn't about punishing her. It wasn't about showing her anything. I wasn't plotting revenge. I just wanted my damn life back. Later that night, I sorted more paperwork, ran a credit report, and started a new folder labeled Options. Not Escape Plan. Not Just in Case. options. Because for the first time in a long time I wasn't stuck. I was in motion, and I wasn't about to hand the wheel back to her. I was halfway through sorting the last stack of insurance papers when her first text came in. Jenna, hope you're okay. I miss you. No emojis. No follow-up. Just those 4 words. I stared at it for a second, then typed back. Me, doing fine. Hope Berlin's good. That was it. I didn't ask how the trip was going. Didn't ask if she was sleeping well. I didn't owe her that. The next day, she tried again. Jenna, had dinner with the team tonight. It felt weird not texting you. Jenna, the city's beautiful. You'd probably love the architecture. Jenna, thinking about you. I waited an hour before replying. Me, glad you're enjoying it. Take care. No kissy faces. No heart. Just plain, flat words. That was the tone I stuck to all week. Calm, distant, polite, and it drove her nuts. By Wednesday night, I knew the video call was coming. Sure enough, her name popped up on FaceTime around 8. I let it ring twice before answering. She was sitting in a hotel room with a blurry skyline behind her. Face washed out by yellow light. Hey, she said, voice soft, like we were still pretending things were normal. Hey, I said back. You look tired. I shrugged. Been organizing stuff. Handling things. Her eyes narrowed just slightly. What things? Just house stuff. Paperwork. You know, life. She paused, like she was deciding how far to push. You've been different. Your texts feel cold. I looked straight at the screen. You asked for space. I'm respecting it. She frowned. I didn't mean emotional space. Maybe be clearer next time, I said. I'm using this time to reflect. Like you said. She shifted in her seat. Are you mad at me? No, I said. Just focused. Figuring out what I want. That one landed. She blinked. What you want? Yeah. I leaned forward a little. You said this trip was about clarity. That goes both ways, right? She went quiet for a second, then looked annoyed. I thought you'd be more, I don't know, upset. I nodded slowly. Yeah. I figured that's what you wanted. Her lips pressed tight. I'm not trying to hurt you, you know? Then maybe don't suggest a pause like it's a vacation package. She flinched, but only barely. So you don't care anymore? Is that what this is? I care, I said, calm as hell. I care about being in a marriage that actually works. Not one built on control and confusion. She looked down at her lap, jaw clenched. You've changed. Maybe I've just stopped shrinking. There was a long pause. Finally, she said, I thought this would help us. I didn't blink. I think it's helping me. Her eyes darted around, like she wanted to keep the conversation going, but had no idea how to steer it anymore. All right, she said, voice stiff. I guess I'll let you go. Take care, I said, and ended the call before she could say another word. I set the phone down, stared at the black screen, and didn't feel guilt, just clarity. Whatever she thought would happen when she hit that pause button, this wasn't it. The next morning, I signed up for the automotive repair course down at Reading Tech Tuesday and Thursday nights, 6 to 9. It was something I'd looked at years ago but never pulled the trigger on because Jenna said it was pointless unless you planned to be a mechanic. I didn't plan to be anything. I just wanted to learn something with my hands. Something real. I threw myself into it fast. Got the books, ordered a tool set, watched a bunch of videos to get ahead. The smell of grease, the clank of metal, the sound of engines stripped down to their bones. It felt good. Solid. No opinions, no judgment. That same night, I sent a text to my cousin Dave. Me, hey, you still around? Wouldn't mind catching up. He replied in under 5 minutes. Dave, damn, I thought you were dead. Beer Friday. We met at that dive bar near the overpass. The one with the sticky tables and loud country music. Dave looked older, rougher around the edges, but still him. You vanished, man, he said, clinking his bottle to mine. Yeah, I said. Jenna didn't really approve of you. He laughed. Figured. You stopped answering right around the time she moved in. Yeah, that won't be a problem anymore. We didn't need to explain it. He got it. Family always did. By Friday night, Jenna must have felt something shift because she sent a message out of nowhere. Jenna, you've been quiet. Jenna, you seem different. Jenna, I didn't expect you to take this so casually. I stared at the screen for a minute before answering. Me, just staying busy. She didn't like that. Jenna, what kind of busy? Jenna, I heard you've been seeing Dave again. Jenna, what's going on with you? I kept it simple. Me, caught up with Dave. Signed up for a class. That's it. No details. No feelings. Just facts. Then her tone shifted, less curious, more sharp. Jenna, what class? Jenna, why now? Jenna, you're acting like you don't even care. I didn't respond right away. I let it sit for hours. When I finally answered, I kept it short. Me, auto repair. Just something I've always wanted to do. She called, but I let it ring. I was in the garage with Dave, going over engine parts and shooting the shit like no time had passed. Felt better than any fake heart-to-heart I could have had through a screen. Next morning, she hit me again. Jenna, you didn't answer last night. Jenna, you've been distant this whole trip. Jenna, why are you acting like everything's fine? I typed back. Me, you asked for space. I'm respecting that. A minute later, she fired back. Jenna, this isn't what I meant by space. Jenna, it's like you don't even miss me. And there it was. She wasn't checking in because she cared. She was checking in because she felt control slipping. Before, I would have apologized, reassured her, tried to smooth it over. Now, I just turned my phone on silent and got back to rebuilding a carburetor. Every time I pulled away, she pushed harder. Every short reply, every delayed answer. She couldn't stand it. She wanted the drama, the tears, the fight that would prove she still had her hooks in me. But I wasn't giving her any of it. And that scared her more than anything I could have said. By midweek, she tried another video call. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. Her face popped up on the screen. Hair straightened, makeup done, like she wanted to prove she was thriving. But her eyes gave her away. You've changed, she said right off the bat, voice sharp. You don't even sound like yourself anymore. I leaned back in my chair. Maybe I'm just more myself than I've been in years. She squinted. You don't care, do you? Not about me, not about this marriage. You're cold. I let the words hang. Then I said, calm and steady. What I've noticed is how quiet the house is without all the eggshells. No tension, no walking on tiptoe. Just peace. Her lip trembled. Eggshells? That's how you see me. That's how it's been, I said. Always careful about what I said, what I did. Now, I'm breathing easy. Her shoulders slumped, and then the tears came. Real messy ones. A year ago, I would have folded. Reached through the screen with apologies, tried to patch things up. But this time I didn't move. I just watched, detached. I thought this trip would help us, she sobbed. I thought time apart would make you realize what you'd lose. I didn't raise my voice. It did help, just not the way you planned. It helped me realize what I can gain without you. She froze, staring like she didn't recognize me anymore. How can you say that to me? Because it's the truth, I said. She shook her head, wiping her face with the back of her hand. I don't understand what's happening to you. I stopped shrinking, I told her. That's what's happening. Silence stretched. She sniffled, trying to pull herself back together. We should talk more later. Sure, I said flat, and ended the call. That night, I was tightening bolts on an old carburetor when my phone buzzed. Dave, yo, he said, voice low like he'd been holding something in. You'll want to hear this. My girl ran into one of Jenna's friends at the salon. Yeah, I said, wiping grease on a rag. She said Jenna's panicking, like full-on nervous breakdown mode. Telling her friends you're acting different, that you don't sound like yourself. I smirked without meaning to. Guess she thought I'd be crying into my pillow. Sounds like it, Dave said. Her friend made it clear. Your wife didn't expect you to actually be fine without her. I leaned against the workbench, the weight of it hitting me. Jenna had walked out thinking she held all the cards. The pause was supposed to be her power move, a way to test the waters and still come home to safety. But now, she was the one scrambling. And for the first time, I wasn't worried about what she was doing in Berlin. I was more focused on what I was doing right here. The grip she used to have, the one that kept me bent, second-guessing, apologizing, it was slipping, fast, and I wasn't planning on ever letting her get it back. Saturday morning, my phone buzzed just after 9. Jenna, flight changed. I'll be home Monday. We need to talk in person. No smiley face. No, can't wait to see you. Just that flat, calculated line. I set the phone down, poured a second cup of coffee, and went back to my checklist. Her return didn't shake me. 2 weeks ago, I'd have been panicking, rehearsing every conversation, wondering how to fix it. Now, I was ready. She had no idea what she was walking into. Monday came fast. I cleaned up the garage, stacked the papers Boone prepared, and made sure everything in the house reflected the new version of me. The speakers were still in the living room. Her motivational canvas art, packed in a box. No more sage-scented candles or throw pillows I wasn't allowed to actually use. It wasn't petty, it was just mine now. The sound of her key in the lock hit around 3 in the afternoon. I stayed seated on the couch, watching her walk in with 2 suitcases and that tight little travel jacket she only wore when she wanted to look put together. She stopped cold in the entryway. I scanned the room, clocking every little change. "Wow," she said, forcing a laugh. "This place looks different." "It is," I said. "So am I." She set her bags down slowly. "Can we talk?" "Go ahead." She walked in like she was stepping onto a stage. Her eyes were tired, but her expression was soft. Too soft to be real. "I've been thinking," she started. "This trip, it wasn't what I thought it would be." "No," I said. "I thought I needed space to figure out what I was missing. But the truth is, I missed you." I didn't say a word. She sat across from me, folded her hands. "I think I made a mistake. I thought pushing pause would bring us closer, not push you away. I didn't expect it to feel so final." "Why now?" I asked, leaning forward. "Why come back early?" Her mouth opened, but the pause gave her away. "Jenna." She looked down. "Because I heard from someone that you were doing fine, that you weren't falling apart." There it was. Not love, not clarity, just panic. "So if I'd been spiraling, you'd still be in Berlin?" "No," she snapped. Then softer. "I just didn't think you'd change so much, so fast." "I had to," I said. "I realized I don't need to wait for someone to decide if I'm worth staying for." She reached out across the coffee table like she wanted to touch my hand. I didn't move. "Can't we try again?" she asked. "We've been through too much to throw it away." I pulled the folder from beside me and slid it across the table. She looked at it like it was a snake. "What's this?" "Separation paperwork. Just the basics. Boone drafted it last week." Her face went pale. "You're serious?" "I am." Tears filled her eyes. Real ones this time, not performative. "So that's it? You're just done?" "I'm done waiting for a version of you that respects me," I said. "I'm done twisting myself into someone you'll approve of." She shook her head. "This isn't fair." "No," I said. "What wasn't fair was the years I spent chasing your approval while you chipped away at who I was. You're throwing away our marriage. I'm letting go of something that stopped being a marriage a long time ago." She stood up, eyes burning, lips trembling. "I still love you. Love without respect isn't enough," I said. "You had time. You chose distance. Now I'm choosing something else." Her shoulders sagged like the wind got knocked out of her. "I didn't think you'd actually do this." "I know." She didn't grab the folder. Just stood there, breathing hard, staring at it like she could will it to vanish. "I'll need time," she said finally. "You had 2 weeks." She flinched, picked up her bags. Didn't say another word as she walked upstairs. I stayed on the couch, steady. The tears didn't move me. Not anymore. Because this time I didn't need her to choose me. I had already chosen myself. She stayed locked in the bedroom most of Monday night. I let her. I didn't go after her, didn't try to explain or comfort or soften it. By Tuesday morning, the silence broke. Hard. I was pouring coffee when she came downstairs, barefoot, hair a mess, eyes still puffy. "You really think this is how it ends?" She snapped, arms crossed. I took a sip. "I didn't end anything. You paused it. I'm just not unpausing." Her voice climbed quick. "You're being cruel." "No," I said. "I'm being honest. You wanted clarity, this is mine." She walked over, hands flying. "You're walking away from everything we built." "What exactly did we build, Jenna?" "A house where I had to ask permission to be myself." Her mouth fell open. "That's not fair." "No," I said, locking eyes with her. "What wasn't fair was cutting off my cousin because you didn't like him. Or rolling your eyes every time I wanted to start something new. The gym, the classes, even a weekend trip. That's not control." "Yes, it is," I said louder now. "Every time I pushed for something that didn't revolve around you, you shut it down. Slowly, quietly, with those little comments, those guilt trips. And I let it happen. That's on me. But it stops now." She started pacing the kitchen, trying to catch her breath. "You're just throwing everything away over one bad decision?" "This wasn't one decision," I snapped. "It's been death by 1,000 cuts." The pause was just the last one. She stopped cold. "So that's what this is? You're done." "I am." Her voice cracked. "You'll regret this. You're emotional now, but you'll wake up one day and realize you burned down a real marriage." I shook my head. "We haven't had a real marriage in years. Just a performance. You pulled the strings, I stayed quiet. You were the sun. I wasn't even allowed to be the damn moon." Her eyes went glassy again. "You said you loved me." "I did," I said. "But love without respect is just slow poison." She stepped closer, desperate now. "You don't even care how this looks? What people will think?" "Let them think whatever they want," I said. "I'm not hiding anymore." Her voice dropped, cold as ice. "I'll tell them you left me for no reason. That you snapped. That you were selfish." "Go ahead," I said. "I won't lie and I won't beg. If people want to judge me for choosing peace, let them." She stood there shaking, fists clenched. "You're destroying this. You." I stared her down. "You destroyed it the second you asked for a break instead of a conversation." There it was. Full stop. She knew it too. Her shoulders dropped like all the fight leaked out at once. "You're not the man I married," she whispered. "No," I said. "I'm finally not." She stormed upstairs. 15 minutes later, I heard drawers slamming, the suitcase unzipping, hangers scraping. She came down with the same bags she walked in with. Didn't say a word. Just yanked open the door and walked out. I didn't follow. Didn't call her back. I finished my coffee, then walked over to the counter, grabbed my phone, and scrolled to Boone's contact. He picked up on the second ring. "Boone here." I didn't hesitate. "I'm ready. File the papers." There was silence on the other end, then a slow, professional reply. "Understood." I hung up and stood there for a second, staring out the window at the empty street. She thought I was bluffing. She thought she still had a grip on me. But the truth was simple. That grip? It was already gone. Boone filed the paperwork that Friday. By Monday, the chaos started. She contested the terms immediately, said she deserved more, said the prenup was outdated and unfair. Boone didn't flinch. Neither did I. That man was a bloodhound in a sport coat. "Let her make noise," he told me during a call. "Noise doesn't win cases. Paperwork does." She pushed for the house, half the car, and even a piece of my savings. Money she never touched, never asked about until now. Didn't matter. The prenup held. Every page she'd once brushed off as just paperwork now protected everything I had left. She didn't show up to the final mediation. Just sent a long email through her lawyer full of vague bitterness and recycled blame. 2 months later, it was over. Just like that. No kids. No shared business. No real assets left to split. She took her stuff, clothes, books, some framed photos, and vanished like smoke in the wind. I stood in the living room after she left for the last time, hands on my hips, air finally still. No fight, no drama, just silence. Real peace. I threw myself into finishing the automotive course. Those Tuesday and Thursday nights turned into the best part of my week. Learned how to rebuild brakes, rewire headlights, tear down an engine without busting my knuckles open. My hands looked rough now, scratched, stained, alive. After class, a couple guys invited me to their garage across town. Small operation. Mostly weekend warriors fixing up old Chevys and busted imports. I started going once a week, then twice. Next thing I knew, I was picking up side work, swapping out alternators, tuning engines, just helping out where I could. No one cared what I'd been through. No questions about the ex. Just grease, music, and straight talk. No masks. I hadn't felt part of something in years. Not like this. One of the guys, Matt, invited me to a Sunday cookout. I brought beer and helped fix his lawnmower while burgers sizzled behind us. By the end of the day, we were already talking about restoring an old 85 El Camino someone had abandoned behind the shop. No performance. No pressure. Just real people doing something they gave a damn about. And Dave? We were tighter than we'd been since we were kids. We started grabbing lunch once a week, shooting pool, knocking back beers on weekends like no time had passed. He never said, "I told you so," but I knew he wanted to. I would have let him. One night, I was under his truck helping replace a fuel pump when he said, "You're different, man. Lighter." I grinned from under the chassis. Yeah. Yes, dropping 130 pounds of emotional weight'll do that. He laughed so hard he almost dropped the wrench. That was the thing. It wasn't just about ending a marriage. It was about reclaiming the pieces I'd let slip away, one argument, one silent treatment, one guilt trip at a time. Now the house stayed quiet, but not cold. My life was full, not loud, not flashy, but full. Of tools, of music, of grease, of actual human connection. For the first time in years, I wasn't trying to be who someone else wanted. I was just being who I always was. And that was finally enough. It was a Saturday morning in late September. Sunny, warm, no plans, when I decided to hit the farmer's market downtown. Just a slow walk, maybe pick up some peaches, grab a black coffee. I didn't expect to see her, but there she was, Jenna, standing by a booth with a guy I didn't recognize. Tall, clean-shaven, that corporate business casual vibe she always liked. They were holding iced lattes and smiling at each other like it was a magazine shoot. She spotted me before I could turn away. "Hey!" she called out, walking over. The guy hung back, checking his phone. "Hey!" I said, calm, cool. She looked me up and down. "You look different." I nodded. "Thanks." There was a pause. She didn't know what to do with my calm. "I heard about your side thing," she said. "The garage stuff. You really started that?" "Yeah, it's going well." She gave a little breathy laugh, the one she used to fake surprise. "I didn't think you'd actually go through with it." I smiled, small but sharp. "Most people don't until I do." Her face shifted just for a second, like she wanted to say more, maybe ask something, maybe apologize. But I wasn't standing there for her comfort. "All right," I said. "Take care." I walked away without waiting for a reply. Later that afternoon, I met up with Dave at the garage. We rolled out an old Yamaha bike someone had dumped behind the shop. Rusted to hell, but I saw the potential. I started pulling parts off while Dave cracked a beer. "You good?" he asked. "Better than good," I said, wiping oil off my hands. That was the thing, I wasn't healing anymore. I wasn't patching myself together or trying to find peace. Peace was already here. That trip Jenna took to find herself? It gave me something better. A reminder that I was never the one who was lost. I just needed enough space to stop shrinking.